A Florida man throws his Subway footlong at an employee because they didn't cut it in half. A Florida man was busted for creeping through backyards with underwear around his neck. A Florida man masturbated in front of a stranger and then stabbed him. A Florida man throws a beer can and fires his AR-15 because of drivers speeding in his neighborhood. And a Florida woman tried to pass off dog urine as her own urine during a drug test. These are the weird stories for Friday on Weird AF News, and they're all from Florida, because on Friday we only do weird news from Florida. It's Florida Friday on Weird AF News. Pew pew! A Florida man throws a Subway sandwich at the employee for not cutting it for him. A man in Florida was charged with battery after he threw his Subway footlong sandwich at an employee because it hadn't been cut into 2 pieces. Yeah, that's the proper response, right? Throw it at the customer. It's a lot of work to say, "Excuse me, could you please cut this in half for me?" Instead, the proper response is to just launch it at the employee like you're trying out for an NFL quarterback position. Alberto de Barros is the Florida man in question. Alberto ordered a sandwich at a Subway in Stuart, Florida on Tuesday. But Alberto was very upset with the sandwich artist upon discovering that the sandwich had not been sliced in half. I love how they're calling it a sandwich artist. That's going to make the Subway employee feel better about getting paid minimum wage. Because you get a nice title. I'm a sandwich artiste. No, leave it up to me. I know how to design a sandwich. I want pickles and olives. No. You cannot mix pickles with olives. I'm a sandwich artiste. Trust me. According to the affidavit, poor Cassandra, the Subway employee, told Alberto, the Florida man, that she would no longer be serving him after he began causing a disruptive scene about his sandwich not being sliced in half. She was trying to calm him down. Rather than walk away, the 54-year-old Florida man decided the right thing to do was throw his sandwich at Cassandra. Poor Cassandra, not paid enough to get hit in the face with a sandwich, not paid enough to get hit in the chest with some deli meat. The Florida man then left the restaurant, but Cassandra, listen to this, Cassandra followed him outside and photographed his license plate. You go, girl, that's how you do it, Cassandra. You don't got to take that at Subway restaurants. People throwing footlongs at your chin. No way, no how. Florida man DeBarros was eventually tracked down by the police and admitted that he was a little upset over his sandwich not being cut. Did you also admit that you're a complete sociopath, DeBarros? Probably not. He said he meant to hit the counter with his sandwich instead of Cassandra. I meant to chuck it at the counter. I didn't mean to throw it at her face. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to go back to drinking water from the storm drain. He claims he didn't do it, but guess what? There's store surveillance that Cassandra turned over to the police. Cassandra's got her stuff together over there. I like her very much. She should be a manager. Or maybe she should be in charge of some security company instead. Surveillance showed the Florida man DeBarros picking up the sandwich and throwing it at Cassandra. He was arrested and charged with battery and posted $1,000 bond. Well, so much for the $5 footlong. You just paid $1,000 for a sandwich, you dummy. Cassandra should also print out a picture of this guy's face and put it in the store and be like, if you see this man in here again, it is perfectly all right to throw hot meatballs at his face. It would have been hilarious if she blocked it. He threw the sub and she went whoosh and blocked it. Said, I see you know the way of the sub, drunken master. And then proceeded to beat his ass right on the floor. A Florida man was busted creeping through backyards with underwear around his neck. So I creep, yeah, with underwear around my neck. And you know I ain't wearing pants. Oh, yeah, I creep. Florida authorities arrested a Florida man who they say was discovered prowling around backyards with underwear around his neck. Not to be confused with the Florida man that was caught eating cheesecake in his underwear in the middle of the Everglades. Also not to be confused with the Florida man who wore women's underwear on his face during a flight instead of a COVID mask. A lot of underwear stories coming out of Florida. Let's just be thankful he had underwear on his person. Usually they're butt naked. We have the Cape Coral Police. They say that officers arrested Mr. Troy Dean Stewart, age 35, after somebody called 911 reporting a prowler. The caller said that they saw someone in their backyard near their dock and also noticed the person on surveillance cameras. Police say they discovered the Floridaman Stewart in an empty lot, lying on his stomach between a hedge and a bush near a seawall. Very specific location. He was wearing an outfit matching the description of the suspected prowler and also had a pair of navy underwear around his neck, according to the police. Sir, you have underwear around your neck. You want to explain this fashion choice? Yeah, man, this is a good way to wear your underwear so you don't get no wedgies. Police say Stewart said he was hiding because two men were chasing him. A neighbor told the police that 2 bonsai trees were stolen from their yards, valued at $7,000. Officers say they discovered the bonsai trees at Stewart's home, but they were not the stolen plants. Excuse me? Okay. The neighbor says he's missing bonsai trees. Officers discovered the bonsai trees at his home, but they were not the stolen plants. They were different bonsai trees. Wow, $7,000 worth of bonsai trees? Just 2 bonsai trees? I didn't know bonsai trees were worth so much money. This guy's the underwear around your neck bonsai thief. This is what's going on. God, I got so many questions. Stewart was charged with loitering and prowling. It is unclear when he will appear in court and if he has an attorney. That's it. That's the end of the story. Doesn't indicate whether or not investigators are going to dive deeper into the bonsai theft. I'm really worried about the trees. They never answered the most important question in the story, the one that I was wondering the entire time I was reading it, and that is the underwear around his neck. Whose was it? Want to create a podcast? Spotify's platform lets you easily make, record, distribute a podcast everywhere, even earn money, all in one place and for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters. Record and edit on your phone or computer, send it to Spotify and everywhere podcasts are heard. They even have video podcasting options as well. Spotify for Podcasters allows you to earn money with ads and subscriptions too. Best of all, it's free. Try it. Download Spotify for Podcasters or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started. And good luck with your podcast. Good luck with your life, man. A Florida man allegedly masturbated in front of a stranger before stabbing him. Come on, right? I mean, would you get a load of this guy? Get a load of him. I tell you. Let's get some information. Sounds to me like it might be a grinder date gone wrong. We have 32-year-old Florida man in Homestead, Florida. He was arrested for allegedly masturbating in front of another man and then stabbing him repeatedly. The old pump and stab, you know the one, guys. The jerk and shank, the wank and slice, the yank and shank, you know the maneuver. This is how you find love in Florida, apparently. The stabbing victim, contacted a police officer at 8:45 a.m. last Saturday, informing the officer he had allegedly been stabbed by a male who he described as wearing a white shirt, orange pants, and a blue do-rag. I'd imagine he can probably describe the genitalia in question as well. The victim was reportedly taken to Jackson South Medical Center by air. Whew. I hope he made it. Officers caught up to the alleged perpetrator, Florida man Devin Cooper, who had bloodstains on his clothes and a knife. Oh, bing, 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 bing. We have a winner. Now, the victim told police he was approached by Florida man Cooper while he was sleeping on a stairwell at a parking garage. Doesn't sound like a very comfortable place to be sleeping. A stairwell at a parking garage? Sounds like the victim's into some stuff as well. I'm not saying it's the victim's fault, but when you sleep in stairwells in parking garages in Florida, you might get stabbed here and there. The suspect allegedly asked him if anyone was there with him. Oh, that's when you should run. When a Florida man walks up to you, are you alone? Run! Run! Says here the victim reportedly claimed that he said no and then continued to sleep on the stairs. And that's when Cooper took off his jacket, letting the victim see his penis. His penis was out, and the Florida man began masturbating right there on the stairwell. Yikes. That's when the victim stood up because the victim was like, look, I can't sleep here when you're touching yourself. These were very comfortable stairs, and it was a lovely nap I was having, but now I can't sleep through this. Cooper allegedly then shifted into a fighting stance after the victim stood up and then repeatedly stabbed him in various parts of his body. Nice move, Florida man. This guy's like, here's my DNA, and here's a crime scene to go with it. Well, you can be sure this case won't be a tough nut to bust. A Florida man throws a beer can and fires an AR-15 rifle because he was upset by drivers speeding in his neighborhood. He's definitely violated the Florida man etiquette by throwing away a very good beer. The AR-15, that's okay, though. That's expected from the Florida man. This story is out of Winter Haven, Florida. We have Florida man Eric Proctor, star of the story. Eric and his AR-15 are the star of this story. He is facing felony charges after investigators say he lost his temper as a car sped past his house. According to the sheriff, Florida man Proctor told investigators that he threw a beer can at a vehicle because it was speeding through his neighborhood, and then he later confronted the driver about driving too fast through the neighborhood. Now, on the one hand, I don't blame the Florida man for getting upset about speeding cars in your neighborhood. It's awfully noisy when those cars are speeding through the neighborhood. Those speeding cars probably interrupted the Florida man's theoretical work on biological systems. You know how Florida man does it on the weekend, guys. Drinking beers, studying quantum physics. Keep it down. I'm reading. Yeah. Come on now, Florida man can't read. Now, Florida man Proctor denies any interaction with his lovely, trusty AR-15 rifle. However, there's neighborhood video showing that Proctor went to his house, came out with the AR-15, and he shot 3 times, once in the air and twice on the ground. I love it. Florida man thinks he could shoot in the sky and that nothing's going to happen. That's not going to hurt anybody. I shot it up in the sky. Proctor was arrested for aggravated assault. But, you know, some people might look at him as a hero. Yeah, speeding cars in a residential area. That's not safe for the kids, man. Can't have these cars speeding in my neighborhood. Them kids could get run over, officer. So I thought firing my AR-15 in the neighborhood off my front porch, you know, that's a better choice. I just did that so that everybody could be safe. You know, everybody gonna be safe now. Oh, look at here. There's a photo of Florida man Proctor. Yeah. Yeah. He looks like someone that would do all of these things. Imagine in your head someone that drinks beers and fires their AR-15 into the air for no reason at all. That's what he looks like. And I know he's trying to keep the neighborhood safe, but now, you know, ironically, he's going to probably end up on the neighborhood watch list. He looks like he ate the neighborhood watch list, if we're being honest. Hello, weirdos. As you know, caffeine fuels me and fuels my Weird AF News podcast. I drink a lot of coffee, but I also have the acid reflux, as I've told you on this show. I found another source for my morning energy, for my morning routine. It's called Magic Mind. It's a very healthy green elixir coffee alternative to help me stay focused and keep me pepped up. It's a green shot with very healthy ingredients such as matcha, vitamins B and C. It's quite delicious, and it gives me the energy I need without those jitters and without that acid reflux. Now, for my listeners like me who are coffee addicts but would like to try a healthy alternative to cut back maybe on your cups of coffee, try Magic Mind. There's a January campaign here that I'm promoting. You get 1 month free with a 3-month subscription of Magic Mind. This can help you crush your New Year's resolution goals. Go to magicmind.com/Jan Jonesy, Jan Jonesy, magicmind.com/Jan Jonesy. I'll put a link in the description of this podcast. Use my code FUNNYJONES20, which is an extra 20% off, which gets you a total of 75% off, and it only lasts till the end of January. So check out Magic Mind. It's delicious, and it keeps you going. Yay! A Florida woman's fraudulent urine sample was from a dog. But, Your Honor, you told me to produce lab urine, so I thought you meant like Labrador urine. I just got it from my neighbor's Labrador. I thought that was acceptable. Just try to follow instructions here. A resident of Clearwater, Florida, admitted to law enforcement that she plotted to hand over some dog urine instead of her own urine in an attempt to pass a court-ordered drug screening. If only it worked, then you'd have a great business model for the state of Florida, where I'm sure a lot of people are having to pass drug urine samples in the state of Florida. You could have a business selling the urine of animals if it worked. Have a website, call it like drugfreepeeforthee.com. Pretty genius, guys. I just came up with an amazing business idea, if only it could work. According to the arrest records obtained by the media, we have here Florida woman Jessica Beatty. She's a quality individual. Jessica was required to undergo random drug testing in compliance with her release terms stemming from her December 28, 2023 arrest for possession of drug paraphernalia and driving with a suspended license. Making our dreams come true. Jessica has had numerous run-ins with the law in Florida, including several cocaine convictions and related prison sentences. A judge ruled that she was free to go on her own recognizance following last month's arrest as long as she underwent random drug testing. Now, several days ago, Jessica had an appointment to submit her urine sample at the county's probation unit. When she took the test, it showed up as a fraudulent urine sample. That'd be funny if they accepted it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. We found your urine to be drug-free, but sadly, you have worms. Get it, guys? Because it's dog pee, so worms. Okay. When Jessica was confronted about her false urine, she reportedly admitted that she collected urine from her aunt's dog and intended to provide this sample instead of her own urine during the drug test. Well, that's unlike most Floridians to just cough up the information, just admit the wrongdoing. But unfortunately, Jessica was arrested at the probation office after she provided the false urine sample and was charged with urine testing fraudulent practices, which is a misdemeanor. And she will now remain in custody. She had a chance to be out in the world, but she just, she couldn't stay off the drugs, sadly. Plot twist, though. Plot twist. The dog's urine also showed up containing meth. Because it's a Florida dog. It all makes sense, guys.
Got an alligator in my backyard and nobody cares. Nobody cares. Got an alligator in my patio and nobody cares. Nobody cares. Had an alligator at my birthday party and nobody cared. Nobody cared. Had an alligator in the front seat of my Volkswagen and nobody cared, 'cause it's Florida. Alligators everywhere and nobody cares. In Florida there's alligators everywhere and nobody cares.
Yay!
Hey, what's up, my friends and loyal listeners of the Weird AF News podcast? Thanks for spending this Florida Friday episode with me. I appreciate it. Hope you're having a great weekend. Shout out to everybody who sent me Florida stories the past couple days. Very, very helpful. You can always email me stories to funnyjones@gmail.com, or you can slide them into my DMs on Instagram @funnyjones as well. I want to give thanks and praise to someone who bought me coffees off my website, weirdafnews.com. It's a Dancing Hippie Chick. Dancing Hippie Chick bought me some coffees, and she wrote me an amazing note. Let me read it. It says, "Dang, Jonesy, you're fun to hang out and have a bowl with. It feels that way anyhow. You know, Google gave me you when I started, when I wanted news in my morning wake-up routine a couple years ago. I was kind of surprised because I was expecting NPR or one of those ones that are wonderful for information but not meant to be really fun. As you well prove, comedy is easy to be had in those. Your narrative, Jonesy, jacks that up to pee your pants giggles. It shouldn't surprise you when I say that now you are now part of my daily life. Many times, such as today, I listen while sitting around with my morning cup and bowl. Unfortunately, I can't send you smokes, but I can buy you some coffees to feed your caffeine addiction. You regularly make me laugh, and only once in a while, piss me off. Pretty good for a comedian or someone I'd be hanging out with. Actually, you're doing better than most of my ex-spouses, boyfriends, or girlfriends. If you ever get to Madison, Wisconsin, I can share that bowl. But for now, enjoy this coffee, Jonesy. Good luck with your life, man." Isn't that a sweet message from Dancing Hippie Chick? in Wisconsin. Oh, man, can you imagine being in Wisconsin right now in January? My goodness, you need those bowls right now to get you through, because I'd imagine it's just freezing and there's snow everywhere. Maybe Dancing Hippie Chick gets high and dances in the snow. I'd imagine. That sounds like a good way to spend your life in Wisconsin. Anyways, if I'm ever up in Madison, Wisconsin, I'm going to take you up on that offer. Meanwhile, thank you so much for this generous purchase of these coffees from my website. I really appreciate the generosity. I really do. And I appreciate the note, and I appreciate the love. So thank you very, very much. If you guys would like to support the show, you can buy me coffees off my website, weirdafnews.com. That's another place you can go to join the Patreon as well, if you'd like to join the Patreon. That's like buying me a beer every month. It's pretty cool. Or you can go to patreon.com/weirdafnews, or download the Patreon app on your phone and do a search for Weird AF News as well. If you also want to support the show, just subscribe to Magic Mind. There's a link in the description of this podcast, or go to magicmind.com/Jan Jonesy and use my code FunnyJones20, and do it that way too. Anyways, I hope you guys have an amazing weekend, and I appreciate all of you. And we'll see you next week for more Weird AF News segments. Meanwhile, good luck with your life, man.